Yeah, just the call sign again is G000Q. Oscar, Quebec. G0, Oscar, Quebec. Bit of a tongue twister, Colin. Anyway, thanks for that report. The 5 and 9. You're just over the 9 here. You're sort of 5 dB over the 9. I've not got any preamps in, and I'm running a yaesu. They call it IPO. So it's straight in. No filtering, no nothing. I've got a really low noise floor. So you're coming in lovely, Colin. No problem at all hearing you. This side I'm running a yaesu ftdx101D. That's going into an ACOM amplifier at about 180 watts. It's just below 200 watts. And the antenna's a good old-fashioned G5RV up at about 12 meters, Colin. So that's the setup. And a little bit of cloud cover today, but overall it's been a nice sunny day. I'm guessing the temperature's about 15 degrees, Colin. Back to you, GM4CNF G000Q.
Fine there, Sean, and apologies for getting the last letter of the call there incorrect, but yep, got it. G0 Oscar, Quebec, GM4 CNF returning. Yeah, fine in your weather. Yeah, I think it's really good all over the country. It was a couple of days ago in the evening news, was watching the weather, and it was one of the satellite photographs, and it showed the entirety of the UK and islands as well, completely clear of clouds, and they're really quite amazing. Only thing I would say is it tends to drop a bit cold overnight. It's kind of a bit +3, +4 overnight. So still kind of pretty cold in the kind of early mornings. But yeah, bring it on, more of the sunshine. It would be really nice if we had a good summer this year, because I think last year was pretty poor there. Okay, and your equipment there, not that familiar with it. I'm not really up to date with the kind of modern rigs, but it sounds really nice. Your audio's first rate, and the G5RV is working well for you. I'm using a really old transceiver from a firm called Summer Camp. It must be about 56, 57 years old. Sean, really old rig, very basic unit, and it's pumping out all of about 40 watts at the moment, and the antenna's a dipole for 40. G0 Oscar, Quebec, GM4 CNS5.
Yeah, very good, Colin. And yeah, okay, on the old radio, well, it's working fine. If I was to be really picky, you're just slightly off frequency, but I mean slightly. It's not worth me chasing it. It's good audio, 40 watts, nothing wrong with that at all. And I must confess, I've got no old gear here. I class myself as a relatively new amateur, to be honest. I was licensed back in '89, and I wasn't on the air very long, probably a couple of years, and then I come off, and I had quite an absence away from the hobby, about 28 years or so. So when I returned, I had to restart from fresh, and I bought new gear, modern transceivers, you know, nothing too difficult to get up and running. It's all plug and play, I'm afraid, and that's the way I do things at the moment. But yeah, still got a thing for some of the older gear. If I had a bit more of a more private shack, a bigger space, I might buy an old yaesu or something. The 101ZD was the first real HF radio I had, and that was a plate and load job, as you know. And yeah, there's still some nice ones around. But I think buying an old radio, it's a bit like buying an old car. They need tinkering and a little bit of maintenance, Colin. At least with this modern stuff, I wouldn't have a clue where to start, Colin. It's above my pay grade to change anything with the two transceivers I've got. Anyway, back to you, GM4 CNF, and I've just checked the weather. It's going to be quite a mild night here. I think down to about 10 degrees, something like that. So it'll be quite a mild night. GM4 CNF G000Q. GM4
CNF returning. Yeah, absolutely fine, Sean. As I say, your audio sounds first rate and nice and punchy, and yeah, just a good signal report. That seems a bit slack from this end. Haven't been on for a couple of days, but I think it was about 2 days ago, conditions seemed very much better at this time. But they seem a bit kind of unstable just now, but maybe that's just from this QTH earshot. Yeah, okay, in the 129, that's still a good period of time there. And yeah, finding being kind of off the air for a while and back on. I think that's one of the advantages of the hobby, Sean. You know, you can leave it and kind of more or less pick up from where you left off. I've been licensed for quite a number of years, obviously, but like you, quite extended breaks, just family and everything else. And I think the longest break was probably about 12 or 13 years. Came back and then left it again. And kind of, I'd say I've only been kind of reasonably active in the last 4 or 5 years. I tend not to buy new equipment for all my gears. Well, and I say all my gear. This is my main transceiver and always has been. And believe it or not, I picked it up at a tabletop kind of car boot sale about, I think it was about 15 years ago. And I paid all of £20 for it, £20. And the chap wanted 30 for it, and I said, but it's, I don't know if it's working, I'm not paying £30 for it. I said, I'll give you £20 for it. So I got the entire rig for £20. So it seems to have done well. I think the PA tubes and the driver are just a bit finished in it. As I say, it only musters about 40 watts output. But fortunately my antenna's at a kind of reasonable height and I've got a good takeoff, so I think that tends to kind of mitigate it, if you know what I mean, Sean. But yeah, it's not that I particularly like old rigs or having to fix them, but it just suits my pocket HI. G0OOQ GM4 CNS5.
G0OOQ, well, the old girl's working well. A little bit of QSB on that one, but and I have put the RIT in now. You're about 40 hertz off or something like that, so it's nothing. But it sounds well. It sounds well for an old radio, you know. And long may it continue. And I think you said the valves were slowly dying away, but probably worth replacing them when the time comes. Mind you, if you only paid what £20 for the radio, I imagine a couple of valves are going to cost you a few £100. I recently had a new valve in my amplifier, and that was £270. Probably 10 months ago, and I know they've gone up now. There seems to be a big shortage with valves, and they're getting more and more scarce. But at least there's still some decent sellers on eBay where you can pick up these old valves, new old stock they call it. So hopefully this valve I've got here will last a while. Okay, Colin, listen, I'll thank you for the chat. It's been nice meeting you. I believe it's the first time we've spoken, and I've got you in my log now. I'll put out another call, see if anybody's about. But really nice to work you for the first time. I'll listen for your final, Colin. GM4, Charlie November Fox, Golf Zero, Oscar, Quebec.
GM4, CNS for a final. Okay, Sean, good copy again. Yeah, conditions are changing a bit, but still copying. Yeah, wow, that seems steep for one valve, £270. That would stick in my throat a bit, Sean HI. But yeah, I mean, that's the trouble. What's the alternative? You either have your amplifier not working, and therefore it's useless. You can't use it or you can't sell it. So you're kind of pushed into that situation of you need to spend the money to get it fixed to decide whatever you're going to do with it. So yeah, that's just one of the joys of ham radio. Anyway, nice to speak to you, Sean. Look forward to the next time. And thanks for coming back to the call. So wish you and your family all the best, and thanks for the contact. G000Q, GM4CNS, signing off and clear, and QS1 73, Sean.
Yeah, cheers, Colin. Lovely to meet you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Anybody else? G0, Oscar, Quebec. I'm hearing somebody in there, but you're very, very light sort of readability to it best. I don't know whether you're calling me. Go ahead. Sorry, I know it's a Golf Mike 4, but honestly, you really are in the back of the set. It's extremely difficult to pull you out. Can you just try one more time? Golf Mike 4. A 6 dB cut in on when you called, and I've just gone to 0. I've got no cuts in, and I've got a noise floor of S1, and you're right on it. So unfortunately, we can't make a Q. So I did hear you say QRP, but I just didn't get the call sign over. Nothing heard. Anybody else? CQ40, Golf 0, Oscar, Quebec. Hello, CQ40, Golf 0, Oscar, Quebec. Golf 0, Oscar, Quebec. G000Q, Shropshire, CQ40, and listening.
7 Romeo Mike Hotel.
Romeo Mike Hotel, again please.
Mike 7 Romeo Mike Hotel.
Yeah, no trouble hearing you. Mike 7 Romeo Mike Hotel. Michael, I believe, or Mike. In contrast to the other station, I can actually hear you loud and clear. I'll give you a report next time. Name's Sean, and I'm just outside a little town called Much Wenlock in the county of Shropshire, over.
Name here is Mike. Hi, Sean. Could you repeat your call sign, please? Over.
Yeah, my call is Golf 0, Oscar, Quebec. G000Q.
Hi, Sean. You got the name. It's Mike. Mike India Kilo Echo. You're 5 and 9 on the audio. I'm in Gloucestershire. Running an ICOM 706 with a 20 metre. Beg your pardon, 40 metre end fed halfway down the kitchen window and 25 watts, over.
Yeah, working well. You're about an S7. You peaked at S7 on that, but on your initial call-in, I think you was a bit more. But it's just the band, you know, it is what it is, and I am running a bit more power. I'm running about 180 watts, 170 watts, something like that. Full-size G5 RV, and that's up at about 12 metres. And the radio's a yaesu ftdx101 Delta. Back to you, Mike.
Thanks for the call, Sean. I wish you all the best. 73. My wife just walked in. All the best to you, 73. God bless. And Mike 7, Romeo 9 Hotel.
Yeah, very good, Mike. Thanks for the call anyway. Have a good afternoon.
Yeah, G000Q. Golf 4, Whiskey Sierra Hotel.
Okay, Golf 4, Whiskey Sierra Hotel. Good afternoon. Name's Sean, you probably heard. Sean, and I'm just outside a little town called Much Wenlock in the county of Shropshire, over.
5, this is Sean, 5 and 9, peaking 20 over at times. Excuse me, a little bit croaky. The name is Jim. Our last contact was in January the 1st, 22. So it's been a while. Heard you a few times. and location is Scurrier, near a Red Roost in Cornwall. So hopefully you're getting me okay. I put the amp on, running about 300 watts from a ICOM 7851. And it's a bit overcast, a bit of a miserable day, upset my plans, so I'm not in a good place at the moment, Sean. I wanted to get on with some problems and get them resolved. So great to hear you, and as all the other stations have said, very nice audio up to my memory from our previous contacts, which go back to 2020. Your audio is always absolutely excellent. So back to you, Sean. G0WOQ, hope you're getting me okay. G4WSH.
Yeah, I'm just looking at your QRZ page. You've got some lovely stuff on there, and a bit of rack gear I see. And thanks for the compliments with the audio. I have put a little bit of effort into it. Just running 2 units really. The one's the preamp, the Behringer preamp, and the other's the virtualizer, which I see you've got on your shelf there. And that's all. And I'm using Yaesu EQ, you know, built into the radio. I've tried to keep it simple. And you'll probably hear my little dog in a minute give out his dulcet tones, because I've got a feeling my wife will be putting up. I've got a feeling, are you the guy, look, I'm looking at your QRZ page, it's familiar. Are you the guy that owned the shop where I bought a fossil from over?
Yes, probably, although that wasn't my department. You're talking about the lizard, Sean, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly that, and crikey, I'd have been newly married, and we went down there with a caravan, me and the wife, and possibly both of my sons. And fossils, they're the type of thing that tourists like to buy, but I bought a couple of fossils, and I've still got them somewhere, but it annoys me. Those Annamites, I can never find them, Jim, over. Yeah,
they are interesting, that's for sure. My brother-in-law, who is a little bit history, I'll change subject a second and say that I retired, 3 years ago. Medical issues culminated in me not being up to scratch in this period of time. I'll come back to that in a minute. But my brother-in-law used to run the shop. In fact, I lived in that shop, but I did the cooking at the cafe adjoining, Sean. So lifetime's effort went into that, and everything went tits up at the wrong time. So although saying that, I did escape possibly at the right time from business with COVID and that kind of thing. But yeah, what a memory you have.
Yeah, sorry for the pause. G0OOQ. I do remember it because it's one of them things that, I mean, growing up as a kid, I was always out fossil hunting as well. That was another hobby that young people used to do, and the school encouraged it. And of course, Shropshire, there's some good places for fossil hunting. You've got Wenlock Hedge, which is 2 or 3 miles away from me, and that's like a 22-mile strip of reef that's risen up, you know, over thousands of years, and it's just full of sea life, Annamites, all sorts of things. And there's little places, there's a few quarries where you could go and sort of help yourself a little bit, you know. As kids, we'd go fossil hunting and things like that, and also prehistoric animals. It was fascinating, all that, you know, that people were digging up that sort of stuff and finding them in the cliffs and what have you. It's a good hobby. I never continued it as a hobby. I've just got 1 or 2 fossils knocking around there. God knows where they are. But I remember the one I bought from the shop. It was highly polished, and it was probably about £5 or something like that back then. And I used to keep it on my bookcase, you know. But yeah, also, Jim, I was going to comment my logbook. Yeah, I see the 1st of the 10th, 2022. You've survived COVID. And sorry to hear about your other health problems. I'm not in the best of shape. I've lost my mobility, I'll be quite honest. Spend a lot of time in a wheelchair now, Jim. G4WSH, G0OOQ.
Oh, I'm sad to hear that, Sean. And I can sympathise if that's of any benefit. I retired just at the wrong time from a financial point of view, but I did escape a lot of the aggravation that ensued the following year with COVID. I wouldn't have been able to operate the businesses. I did all the paperwork and the buying, so I know British Fossils used to supply us with those minerals and such like. We used to sell some very large slices of material, and the price went with them, unfortunately. God knows what they are now. Yeah. Anyway, I then was able to get on with treatment for prostate cancer, and I got luckily on top of that one at the right time. But I've recently, in July of last year, had a triple heart bypass as well, and that has had a lot of malingering problems for me because I lost a lot of my energy, physiology, and that kind of thing. And with 3 occurrences of gout, it's put me back to square one, as if I just come out of the bloody hospital. But there we are. Sorry for the medical explanations. I'd like to turn it into a medical channel. But sad to hear that. Did you not do some falconry as well, Sean? I remember your old page used to show some falcons, I believe. Is that correct? G0OOQ, G4WSH.
Yeah, you're 20 over now, Jim. It's come up lovely. I did. Yeah, that's what took me away from amateur radio. I was always into nature and wildlife as a kid, and it was always my dream to take up the sport, or the art as they call it. And God, it was 30 years I was into it. I lost the one hawk. He was 26 or 27 when I lost him, and he nobbled a wood pigeon that was diseased. It got a condition. It's a known condition called Frounce, and I suspected he got Frounce. Anyway, I got him to my vet, who's also a falconer, and he got the drugs into him, and he said he'll be fine on that, but he didn't. He just slipped away. So that was the end of that. And then a week after we lost that hawk, I got diagnosis of multiple sclerosis, progressive. I knew I'd got something wrong in my 30s, and I developed a limp, and then it just slowly took over. So I've had to have the house. I had to retire at 50. I've had all adaptations put in the house, and I can still stand and walk using sticks, but literally from here to the lounge or from here to the kitchen, and I find myself in the wheelchair most of the time. Now, if I go outside, wheelchair. If I go to a pub meal, wheelchair. It's got to be, and I've got an adaptive vehicle with a ramp on the back, so I sit in the back like a Labrador dog now. So the Land Rover's now gone, and along with my lovely hobby of falconry, that's gone, and that's what prompted me to come back to amateur radio. I always knew I'd come back to it, but sort of once I'd retire, I was planning to retire at 60, and lucky I'd put a bit of money into pensions and that, you know. But you know, you got to make the most of things, haven't you? You really have. Sorry to hear about your prostate. My dad had that. He had the procedure, the operation, and it nipped it in the bud. And sorry to hear about your heart, but you just don't know. No matter how carefully you plan your life. Me and my wife both put into pensions. Jane worked for the NHS. I always earn reasonable money, factory, and I went out to Oman and did a bit out there and got really ill. You just don't know what's around the corner, do you, Jim? That's the thing. You can plan as much as you like, but life can change in an instant. G4WSH, G0OOQ.
G0OOQ, G4WSH. You're absolutely right. And, it's that old saying, isn't it? Live life as if it was your last day.
Whoops.
I hung on pensions or disaster zones, and today's not going to help. I still haven't taken my private pensions. They're invested, and I expect I've lost a good few grand again. Liz Truss buggered things up for me as well in a big way. So you do wonder whether these things actually are an important issue for our generation, because everybody else has got their hands in your pockets. But hey ho, we can survive. Quite a change of pattern for me when I retired. It was all a bit of a rush, and finding another property to live in changed my attitudes completely. I was always looking for somewhere out in the countryside with no neighbours to moan about amateur radio and the unsightliness that they view. But I then had these health issues and discovered that travelling from the Lizard to Truro, the nearest hospital, took longer and longer and longer, and 1.5 hour journey, and I thought, well, I can't carry on like this. And with death looking you in the face, you have to say to yourself, where are you going to leave your XYL? So I ended up just a 10-minute drive from the hospital now, and luck would have it, it was a property that suited all my needs. Ready-built shack and a nice bungalow, so I didn't have to climb ladders anymore, and no neighbours that were going to influence a tower in the garden. So all things have worked out well with that, and the health issue has gone by, although I've had 3 lots of gout, Sean. Don't know where it's come from. Apparently you are susceptible to that. If crystallization forms when you've had operations and things. So I had to go to Plymouth for the op, and they did that well. That's all cleared up, and like a new one. But the biggest handicap is they've taken my license away whilst I notified them, and I can't get it back at the moment. They're dragging their feet and not listening to what I say. That's quite a nuisance for me at the moment, because I need to get out and get a few bits of DIY stuff to finish a few jobs off, and the XYL doesn't like driving, but I've had a problem with my antenna, the 3-element stepper, and I've been trying to resolve that, but it's been bloody windy to stand on the step ladder to do anything. They got blown off yesterday. And pull the plug on this one and wait for a calm day if it's dry enough. As I said initially, a bit peed off with the fact that I haven't been able to resolve it, and I'm looking into causes of why. There we are. It's all a challenge, isn't it? And amateur radio is full of that. Keeps the grey matter functioning with all the thought processes, Sean. But well, I'm sad to hear that will have changed, and MS is not an easy thing to live with. But fantastic photographs, by the way. I've pulled your page up now, and you're obviously a keen photographer as well. But I did remember seeing the falcons on our last conversation back in 22 or maybe 20. So very interesting pastime. But you're sounding absolutely great. G000Q, G4WSH.
G000Q, yeah. Look, I'm not trying to compete. I'm in good spirit. I'm lucky. We've been married, approaching 35 years. The kids are growing up, and I've got a little bit of equity behind me, so we're in a comfortable place. It's just I've got a motor med therapy bike. I go in it every day. It's in the spare bedroom, and so I'm keeping the muscles going in my legs, although I can't properly walk. And I'll do, like, for example, today I did 2 miles under my own steam with quite a hill factor. So I'm actually getting muscles in my legs and my calves and that. And then the bike will take over, and that did me another 3. So you might pedal a quarter of a mile, and then the bike will take over, and so on and so on. And I do that every day, sometimes twice a day. And that helps with things like blood circulation. I was getting terribly swollen ankles before I got the bike, and it's made such a difference. I was on water retention tablets as well. And yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? You've just got to be a bit positive about things. I'll tell you what annoys the hell out of me. My wife frowns when I say this, but when you've got equity and you need a helping hand, how they did it for me, local authority, they gave me an interest-free loan of 26,000 quid, which is like a mortgage, and they get that back when you die, or it comes out the will. But if you don't own anything, if you've never worked and sat on your arse all your life, you get it for free. And that's how the system works. So I've had to borrow 26 grand to make this bungalow. I've had a patio put on the back that's all level access, a wet room, level access, all that sort of stuff, you know. And it's cost me £26,000, which will come out the kids' inheritance. But yeah, we've got to move, Jim. We have to move again. I'm in a dormer bungalow, so there's 2 bedrooms upstairs. I haven't been upstairs now for well over 12 months. I sleep downstairs, and so we need a bigger single level bungalow, something like you got. But that will happen, but not just yet. Anyway, Jim, listen, my wife's just come in with the shopping, so I've been rabbiting on for a while. I've got a confession to make. I've been live streaming, and you can have a listen if you want to. It's on. Just type in my call sign or click on the link on QRZ. But you'll see how I am it, and you can probably hear my little dog woofing in the background. I was once privileged enough to work at pointing spaniels and setters, and now we've got a blooming sausage dog. Can't do nothing with him. But he brings a lot of fun to the house. Lovely to speak to you again, Jim. Just one question before I do go, on your final. I made a note that he was on the 950 SDX and a PR781. Wonder if that still applies. Listen for your final, Jim, and then I'm off. G4WSH, G000Q.
Yeah, fine business, Sean. And yeah, well, we have similar thoughts to where we get in life, and no matter how you plan your independence and bring up your children. My son actually is licensed, but he's very busy. He's a lecturer in a university in Cardiff, and done very well for himself with the benefit of me working an extra 10 years. But no debts, no nothing else, so sorted him out before things went tits up. But going away from that, it's an unjust world, isn't it? So you can work your guts out and I did work hard. I had 18-hour days for 8 to 9 months of the year, and had the winters off, but that took up the rest of life in keeping the property and that kind of thing. So I know where you're coming from, and I used to watch them going to the pub every night and scorning me as they went by. I was still working. But did that pay? I don't know. It's no good going backwards. We are where we are, and make the most of it. And I love radio. I've been like this a long time now, and I actually have still got the 950s, and I do fire them up. Not as much as I wanted to. I did go down a bit of the audio route, but basically not using any of that at the moment. I'm running on a 7851 that I bought when they were still expensive but affordable. So that's getting a bit long in the tooth as well. And with all these LCD screens incorporated and so forth, a bit of a liability probably, but I think my favourite radio is the Kenwood 990, which I fire up now and again. But I haven't been very active for 12 months because of the heart operation. But totally successful, and signed off from Plymouth where they did the operation. So it's all positive. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you this afternoon and catch up with old friends, and enjoyed the QSO. I'll try and catch you again. I've heard you a few times, but you've always had pile-ups, so I've not jumped in. What else did you ask? Yeah, well, you'll have to get back onto the minerals and look out for more. It's always a good opportunity to have a change of thought, isn't it? And challenge the brain a little more. Take care. Won't hold you anymore on my rabbiting. And look out for you next time. G000Q, G4WSH.
G000Q, just a few comments, yes. And by the way, I don't do pile-ups, Jim. It's like a mental overload, I find. I like to actually talk to people, you know. Maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 on the frequency. That's about my limit. And because I'm such a slow, I can't write anymore. I can't. You mentioned that lovely camera gear I had. I've had to get rid of all that. I can't do it. I just can't physically hold a camera. I can still do Morse. I can still do me Morse. I do a bit. I've probably not had a QSO for about 2 weeks now on the key. But I've kept my hand in with that, and it's a skill I hope to retain. I use a paddle key, so it's just left and right, you know, it's quite easy that. But anything that requires finger skills, I just can't. I'm a one-finger typist, so I have to keep things low-key, and you know what I mean? I used to have a notepad and a nice little Parker pen and write things down and keep a proper log, and I can't do that anymore. I can't. So one finger typing. That's my way of keeping a logbook. Great to talk, Jim. Take care. We'll have another chat, I'm sure. And yeah, get yourself back on the bands more. It is therapy, I find. It's a release, isn't it, to come on here, and it's a bit of a platform, isn't it? Sort of 40 metres for local chit chat. And luckily, I've regained a few old friends who give me an hand with antennas and things like that. And I keep everything simple. 73 Jim, you have a good evening. G4WSH, G000Q, Shropshire. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Sean. QSO as always. 73, hope I haven't delayed you from unpacking the shopping. Take care. Till the next time. G000Q, Shropshire, and G4WSH in Cornwall. 73.